And here we go. Let's jump in, make sure we're going everywhere, all over the internet out there. I just noticed your shirt.
Out of pie.
I will.
Double meanings exist.
Yeah, welcome to the show. It's Dr. Jason Dean. This is Revolution Network with Jason Q, who, by the way, Christy, if you're out there watching, uh, Jason is okay. He is alive and well, and Christy now does not have to kill you because I'll give you a little secret. Christy has been trying to get a hold of Jason Q all day, and he didn't talk to her, so so she thought he was in lots of trouble. But you're here, buddy.
Well, wouldn't it like be counterproductive if she did kill me? Because it doesn't make much sense if she's gonna kill me once she finds out I'm all right. I mean, I don't know.
It's all right. She'll message in here.
Just yeah,
How are you doing since election night?
good,
Good.
perfect. I mean, yeah.
You know
We're
what the
still winning
fun?
all 50.
You know what the
I'm just
fun?
telling you, we're
You know
still
what
winning
the
all
funny?
50.
You know what the funny part is?
Yeah.
People are panicking, man. People are panicking. They're like it's over. And I had to post all day today saying if you think the president of the United States wasn't ready and planning for this, I got news for you. This was all even if even if even if Q was a gigantic psyop meant to take down America and fool us all, if you don't think the president knew about this the whole time, come on, stop panicking. This is part of this damn game. This is so this is my theory behind this. You ready? I
Go ahead.
asked I asked a handful of people this week. I said, how many election cycles have you watched before? And they go, well, I watched a little bit in 2016. I go, okay, never mind. Minus 2016. How many election cycles have you watched so far other than 2016 and this one? And most of them said none. You know why?
No.
Because Americans took their hands off the wheel and assumed that America was just going to continue on the tracks because it's called America and everything is okay. And in reality, what he's doing is, well, actually, what happened is most people finally started watching for once and they said, oh, wait a second. This has to be a crime because there's no way this many people voted for him. There's no way this guy could have got that many votes with all the momentum going. And so what's happened is you've actually been shown this has been broken for a long time. This is not broken in 2020. This has been broken for a long period of time. You were just now educated on how it's actually broken. And see, there's this crazy thing in the world where if you're educated about something and you gain knowledge on something, now you can take more responsibility over it. You have more control over it. So now you're being educated on how the American system has been working for at least 100 plus years. Every freaking election cycle, there's been complete and utter fraud, and you didn't even know how it worked. Now, now that you know, guess what? Now you're responsible for it. That's how it works. Would you agree?
Well, well, I totally agree on the whole people not observing the election cycles because let's face it, I mean, we just thought that that's how it worked.
Right.
But first off, I just want to, last night's show was great. I mean, it was beyond outstanding. Just want to congratulate you on that. I did manage to bring my testicles to the party tonight because I thought that was pretty good rant. I was like, oh, here we go. That's like, yes. It's
we
like,
just
get
we
some.
We've just built a
I just,
we're a weak country. This is not who we are. This is not who our founders were. We become so freaking
no.
weak. And everyone's
So
like, I
this,
don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. Now, I'm not saying you're going to have to physically fight in the streets, but you have to be willing to mentally fight.
if the thing about the best, well, I guess you could say the thing about freedom is that it's such a good freedom is such a good thing that people have been willing to die for it over the centuries.
Right.
And the thing is, like now we've come to a crossroads where the education system has pretty much usurped the education system and tech. The technology, high tech companies, Google, the basic ones.
Right.
We don't want to name names because we'll have
Right.
trouble, but the basic ones that have been they have been financing these colleges and these professors into the into the education, into the liberal arts, and into the education system. That they're like, well, this is how you're going to teach the children of tomorrow,
Right.
and that's what happens. I mean, they've been. It's all just a huge indoctrination cycle that it's all like. I mean, you could technically say it's a huge pay for play,
Right.
massive pay for play. And the thing is, at colleges, when you said that, how long is it going on for? I mean, 149 years. You know,
Right.
149 years. It's 1871, and if you notice everything, it revolves around the electoral college. Well, we just talked about universities and everything being bad. Well, that would mean that I hope I'm not frozen, but that's fine.
Hey, do me a favor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill this. I'm gonna kill your feed here because it's messing up on my.
Okay.
I'm gonna Skype you in. Okay.
All right.
Wait, hold on. Okay, sorry guys. He is messing up on my feed quite badly, and so I don't want that occurring. So give me 1 minute, and I will pull this in. Ooh, that's loud. Sorry about that. It was
Oh,
loud.
no problem.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, that might be better. That is better.
Better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Cool.
Beautiful.
Cool. Right on, right on. And talking about like the electoral college and everything. I mean, when we look back at, because they wanted us to like become educated citizens about America and what we as Americans have um, become, and what we. Yeah, here it is. Sorry about that.
You're okay.
Constitution. And the thing is that with the Constitution, from the Constitution of 1790, this is not how this was supposed to go down at all.
Right.
That's why, when England has had us by the balls since 1871 and prior. But this whole, I mean, it's like it's a trick. I mean, we've been played, this whole Commonwealth of Nations where, the monarchy, the fall monarchy, has been in play for, hundreds of years, and it's pretty much it's pretty much based on the Nazis, the Jays. Don't want to pretty much say that. It's based off of religion and just pure division.
Right.
Because without division, you have unity. With unity, then people will understand that we do have the power.
Right. Pull your mic
And
closer. Pull your mic closer.
Sorry about that.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Pull it up.
turn up too a little bit. There you go.
Beautiful.
How's that?
That's
Just
wonderful.
cover my face.
That's wonderful.
Trying to make sure that I can still read everything in front of me. But yeah, the whole thing is that because this is why it was all played, by President Trump and by the whole, by Q and by the whole, the White Hats.
Right.
It's because now when they go to do the recount, right, Now, we just learned about the whole watermarks and everything like that on the ballots. They
Yep.
knew about it for a long time, but last night, they came out and verified it. We saw it on the show, and right then and there, when they do the recounts and they notice water, there's watermarks there. Well, these can't be counted. You know, and the problem is that then they turn around and they're showing all these videos of all these ballots from like military and other ballots that they're just taking them and just dumping them and burning them and just it's like they're getting way beyond cocky. But remember, we're watching a movie. I mean, this has all been done before. It's already been completed. They just said sit back and just watch the movie because all three movies are playing at the same time. When they said Panic in DC and everything, and when they mentioned DC, what do they mean? I mean, there's three separate DCs. Well, technically four if you count the person, which would be Dick Cheney. You have Washington D.C. You've got the what is it? The complex. It's in Ramstein, Air Force Base in Germany. The shit, can't believe I forgot this. And then, that was the third one, and then the fourth one is the Denver complex, which would be D.C. And that is where Washington, D.C. was going to move once they initiated World War III. Once Hillary Clinton had the subs from Korea and the subs from Russia, which were our subs, launched the nukes at America, and when that happened, then we would end up launching them at Korea and Russia. So technically, we're kicking off our own World War III.
Right.
That's how it was supposed to go down. And then everything was going to be moved into the Denver complex, which is underneath Denver International Airport, because they had a perfectly good airport before. So why did they build this whole Denver International Airport? And you see the symbolism everywhere. I mean, even their cornerstone has the whole Masonic, the whole seal. It has the compass and the square, everything. I mean, I flew in there about 5 years ago, and just the murals alone. I mean, they had murals with people with masks on, face masks, and they had their country's flags on them. And it's like, are you serious? I mean, it's all there, right? I mean, right there for the taking. And what they had underground, that's why they said like the silent war continues, because they're fighting underground. Everything's underground right now. They're all in those the Shimera tunnels, and those are below the military DUMS, U.S. military DUMS, and the military tunnels there. Because when you look at Elon Musk, he actually has a company, the Boring Machine, which has that huge drill, right? And they're drilling these tunnels.
Right.
Well, this is for all the globies out there. So
The Globies.
I'm just telling you. So if they had this massive, massive drill, right? And they're drilling, right? Well, it's just like with a submarine when they say zero bubble. I mean, if you're cruising along, I mean, naturally, the curve is going to go down, right? Well, that drill it's not going to go down. I mean, it's not like the drill's pitched down or anything. That drill is drilling straight through. It's drilling through bedrock, everything. I mean, through granite, it's just drilling. So wouldn't it just like pop up like in the middle of just like anywhere? Just like a submarine, wouldn't the nose just pop up anywhere? Or would it have to tip down, just like on an airplane or everything? I mean, it's a plane. And that's the thing. It's like everything has to be based off that. Because, let's face it, Denver International Airport, it goes 88.2 miles down. I mean, it's deep. They have two 70-story buildings underneath Denver International Airport.
So
it is massive.
Something that people don't realize, let me add to this so they can give some context for what Jason is saying, because I know a lot of people are going to be like, what is he talking about? This is all about the election. This is all about... He's talking about different games, different wars going on at one time in the grand scheme of things. The mainstream media here is intended to help you stay distracted. But when you first heard, when this all started, back when the pandemic started, and there was a moment when General, is it Mark Milley? Mark Milley, yeah. Came out and said, randomly, by the way, came out and said, there's a war going on, basically. You will not get past Jump Street, etc. This was back in March, April, and people kind of forgot about it because there actually is a war going on underground right now. That is actually occurring now. You can go to past shows and here we were talking about that, but that's why he's talking about Denver. That's why he's talking about the boring tool that they use, because we're not gonna cover it all tonight because we have some other stuff to go through. But if you wonder what we're talking about, you have to go back and watch some of the early shows that Jason and I have done to discuss or talk about what is occurring and why this is happening, and more. They're taking down a whole system. This is not just an election. This has been a system that has been built behind the scenes underneath everybody that no one knows about. And the only one who's ever even studied this are the conspiracy theorists. And most everyone now who's just waking up for the 2020 election was not part and was not a conspiracy theorist before 2020. So most, I mean, obviously a lot of you were, but most were not. And before I let you comment on that, I'm just going to let everyone know. So Facebook, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to make some announcements this weekend. I'm going to make some announcements this weekend into next week. I am on my second strike on YouTube, meaning third strike, which can happen at any time, and my whole YouTube channel will be gone. All right. So if you are listening on YouTube tonight, you can subscribe all you want to. You can follow all you want to. I'm telling you right now, get ready. Go to the website to start watching the shows. TheRevolutionNetwork.com. Facebook is not far behind. Facebook took down some friends of mine this week that don't talk about a half of what I'm talking about. They're scouring the social media sites for everything. So get on the email list. Get over to the website if you still want to watch stuff. Everyone's saying there's frozen stuff on Facebook and everything. That is Facebook. That is not occurring on my end. Our end is perfectly streaming. I can see all the viewers up here. I can see my whole production panel here. Everything is perfectly fine. That is occurring on their end. I have also opened accounts on Gab. I've opened accounts on Parler. And I opened an account on Rumble. Those will not censor. But I'm going to tell you, I did not start the following there. So you're going to have to go there and follow. Gab is going to be able to live stream as well. So you're going to have to end up on those channels and the website because they're going to take you off. I'm telling you right now. Please do not complain in a day, a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. Do not complain about we can't find you, we can't find you, we can't find you. We've been telling you this forever. I will be again on Gab, and we will be live streaming to there. I just got to get it all figured out. There's some nuts and bolts we got to take care of to live stream on Gab. It will be on Rumble, and then Parler won't be live streamed, but we'll see if we can upload the videos, and then the network itself. So sorry for that long diatribe, but I wanted to let everyone know because, guys, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube are going down. It's written all over, okay? So that's where you got, and some people are gonna say, I don't know how to use Gab. I don't know how to use Parler. I don't know how to use Rumble. Guess what? Start learning. Like, There is no way around it. I heard somebody say, "Well, I went on Parlor and it doesn't make sense and I can't figure it out, so I can't do it." That's not how the world works. Friggin' learn it. Welcome to the game. Like this is like, guess what? If I open up a new social media site, guess what? I don't know how it works either. Guess how I learn it? I spend an hour or so playing around with it to figure it out. So continue on. I didn't want to do that, but I need to tell everybody because it is the craziness is happening.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I've never used any of those either, so I'm gonna have to learn also. So that's why I was sitting here writing them down and everything. I'm like, I better write this down real quick because they're going. So but I also sent you a photo on your Twitter
Let me go
of
check
the
it out.
boring machine.
Let me go check it out.
And then
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you might want to post that because that alone right there will show that because the whole thing behind it, it actually takes the rock and it crushes it and it like smooths everything out, the whole tunnel. That's how the tunnel is so smooth. I mean, that's a decent size, drill. So
you think?
The thing isn't going to be tipping down a little bit. It's like, hey, bring it down to like an 1/8 inch. It's like, oh, there's no 1/8 inch here. It's that thing is traveling on a plane, through a plane, because these are also creating the maglevs, the magnetic levitating trains.
Right.
And
yep.
And Denver is like the hub of all of the maglevs as well.
Right.
So, and who bought all that land? Queen Elizabeth.
No.
So it's like, oh yeah.
But she's she's the queen and she's so nice.
Yeah. Yes.
But she's the queen and she intends good for all. She wants all the peasants to be super happy while she sits in her freaking castle of gold.
Yeah, that's why. Why did they create the House of Windsor again? I mean, it's because they had to church up their name once again because the original name was Saxe, Saxe, Coburg, Coburg, and this last one always gets me. It'll come to me. It will. There's so much. Just
it will.
Whirling around, and it was all like it was too Germanic, too Nazi. So that's why they changed it right before World War II to the House of Windsor.
Nazi.
Well, I mean, the House of Windsor. I mean, they're all Nazis.
This is why I'm gonna get kicked off social media.
well, I mean, of course they don't want us to know the truth. So that is going to be tonight. I mean, if you think about it, next week is Boom Week. Because, look at the dates. Monday is 11/9. Think mirror, 9/11.
Right.
What's Wednesday? Wednesday's 11/11. 20. Right? Remember, 11/11/18 is a parade. Remember they were talking about it back then? It's going to be a massive parade.
There is?
But then, oh yeah. Remember? They were talking about it way back in 2018. Oh. They were talking about like the big parade and how everybody's like, oh, there's no parade or anything. Well, because they're deltas. +2. So 11/11/20. There you go. That's on a Wednesday. Now, Friday. What does that make that? Also means we have a Friday the 13th.
We do, that's correct.
So, then you have the whole Masonic deal there. Because that's when they burned Jacques de Molay at the stake and they took down the whole, the Templars.
Nice.
And that had to do with the Vatican, the King of France, King Philip. Well, that's 1L, by the way. And, also, well, King Philip, actually, he wanted to go through with this because he owed so much money to the Knights Templar for the wars that France had against England. And instead of paying his debt, he thought that it'd be much easier to turn around and say, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and accuse them of heresy, of, you know, um, you know, believing in, Satan and spit loss and everything that they did. It was all projection. Everything that they did, they projected on the De Molay and the other Knights Templar.
They project everything.
And they tortured them, and yeah. And where did they do that? They did it right outside Notre Dame Cathedral, right where they had that picture of Michelle, Big Mike, Obama sipping the champagne out of the glass, and out of the glass you could see the reflection of Notre Dame Cathedral being burned. And remember, they were having this big, Emmanuel Macron. They had that whole, big donation fest. I mean, it's like huge donations coming in to restore Notre Dame Cathedral.
I remember. Yeah,
I mean,
so that's tying
together. It's like, well, why are they so worried about all that? And anyways, like all the heads of all the like they could say they're apostles or whatever on the church, they were all cut off on all the statues. I mean,
you know how many people have forgot about the cathedral burning?
Probably like 98% of people. I mean, if they just understood what was underneath it, with the tunnels and the walls of skulls, and I mean, they had the Book of the Dead, the Necromonicon, or however it's said.
So there's something else very interesting in this election that is gonna pop up that people are not gonna realize, which is everyone was like, oh, he's gonna destroy the Democratic Party. He's gonna destroy the Democratic Party. Correct. However, today is when he started destroying the Republican Party, because the Republicans go down too, and he did that because he got them not to raise their voices today, where the Republicans technically should be jumping behind their president and defending and asking for legal action. And he got even Dan Crenshaw. Now, I'm not saying Dan Crenshaw is a white hat or black hat, but Dan Crenshaw went on the defensive on Twitter because everyone started going after him as well. So the president is also very strategically destroying the two-party system. He's also destroying. He's going to destroy the whole system, and there's going to be some organizations that fall that are very, very large. And so just be ready, everybody. He's not just destroying like the Democrats. He's also destroying the Republicans, and he's going to destroy. This is the destruction of the system that got away from us, we, the people. That's what's actually happening. And then I think that actually dives into the stuff that you showed me before we came on the air, which is the black population.
Yeah, that stuff, I've got to still dig into that like way deep, but
dive into what you have so far.
All right. Let's see. Hold on 1 second.
It's okay. For many of you who are new to the channel in the last couple weeks, don't worry. You'll know that Jason has a Library of Congress behind him of paperwork. He has probably now about 150,000 pieces of paper printed off, and so as I sometimes ask him a question, he has to go into his Dewey Decimal System, and he has to find what he's looking for, what I've asked for, and then he pulls up and he pops up with a stack of paperwork like a legal counsel would, and then he goes through the documentation. There you go. So what do you got?
So the thing is that Oh man, this is gonna be tough.
That's
Okay,
okay.
so
We have. It
well,
is
I mean,
Friday. It is Friday
it's
night.
just
I've been a little rested, so I have plenty of time, and we'll
yeah,
just go where we go, brother.
yeah. It's just when we were talking about the whole blockchain and in a previous episode and the whole Noon Noone Society and the whole Nibiru, all that good stuff. Um, yeah, we found like a lot of other stuff because what it is that there's a site online. Well, there's a site. It's called Scribd,
Yep. Which I
SCRIBD.com.
actually so just so you know, not to interrupt, and I'll let you go
Go
after
ahead.
this.
Oh, go ahead.
Is I bought the same exact printer Jason bought because I had because once I saw what he was doing, I'm like, okay, I got to get it. And then I also got a Scribd subscription that I will occasionally go Google. But go ahead, it's that
Um,
addicting.
Now, did you also get the website for the ink?
I did. I bought a $100 printer that prints out 30,000 pages, like fast, and the ink for
Yeah,
$10.
yeah. Because well, you want to get like the ink for like 14 because it's like because you can get the 2.6 well 2,600 page or you can get the 5.2 thousand
Yeah, I
for
got the I got
14.
I got a couple boxes of the large capacity for $14 each.
Yes, nice. Yeah, that's what you want to get. And then you also want to get the drums,
Yep,
the ink drums.
yep.
And I mean it's so cheap
It's
and
ridiculously cheap.
and they ship it like next day or do 2 day shipping for free.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't go wrong.
yeah.
You know, I mean, if there's one thing my mom, she's like, why don't you just use this one? Because I was using like a color one, and I mean, it was just like, oh, this sucks.
It
It's just
does
like
suck. It
so
does.
expensive
I
and
do.
just like so
I have two
slow.
printers. One's a color and one's black and white that does mass printing.
So
Um,
yeah, just so slow.
so dive into what you got there, brother.
So the thing is that they talk about this quantum physics, QATUM physics, and they talk about this Master Key series. It's volume 19, and it says inspired by the forces of nature, and it has none or noon NUN in parentheses. Well, when we said it before, like in the whole book of Numbers, that's why you use the kill boxes because the left-handed kill box, with pointed inward, that's called an inverted nun in the Hebrew dictionary, in the Hebrew like symbols. And then to close all out, the right side bracket is called the nun, NUN. So so the thing is that that's why Q uses kill box and everything because it's an inverted nun and a nun because the force of nature, the nun. I mean everything's connected all the way down the line, all the symbols because that's symbolism.
Right.
It's exactly using symbolism. And what it is sorry, what
You're okay.
quantum is, and you would think quantum, and that's how it's pronounced with, into the English, the white man's dictionary. It's melanin physics. So,
Melanin, interesting. Melanin. You mean
yeah,
that stuff that makes your skin different colors and makes black people
yeah,
black because they have
dark.
to adapt to the sun because of where they came
Because
from.
the
Power
power
of
of
black
black
consciousness.
consciousness.
That's awesome.
I mean, and now the thing is, we're starting to realize now why they're over in Africa and they're doing all these tests on all these tribes.
Right.
And I mean, if people even remotely knew the stuff that Bill Gates and Bill Clinton and all these just mass murderers, well, not Gates anymore since 2015, but um, the stuff they've done is just, it's so ridiculous on every level. I mean, when you think about how they can actually remove they can impeach presidents all the way back. Well, they could actually go back. I mean, technically, Gerald Ford.
Hmm.
I mean, Reagan was an actor, was brought in, and he was just playing his part because George H.W. Bush was the vice president, and you've got then you had George H.W. Bush. Then he only ran one term because his you know his replacement was well ahead of schedule. That was Bill Clinton. Then you had George W. Bush, for 2 years. Then you had good old Barry, and it's like, what is going on here? I mean, all the way through. It's like the whole Fourth Reich. When you talked about the Fourth Reich yesterday, that was what H.W. Bush was. Because they had the Fifth Reich, which is the S.A. Reich, the South African Reich, which was, in fact, good old Mandela
Oh,
and apartheid and everything.
yeah.
That's the Fifth Reich. I mean, it brings it right, it gets full circle. Brings it right back to Africa. Because what did the Africans do? They actually created mathematics. I mean,
So you know what I always like doing? I'm not keep on going, but I always like to interrupt for a second just because I can show people this stuff. You ready? Here you go. Keep going. I'm just gonna show a picture.
okay,
There you go. The rise of the South
yeah.
African Reich.
And the thing is that you can actually because it's all in there. I mean, all you have to do, because once you start chipping away at a little bit, then more and more gets exposed, then more and more, and then you start connecting. You connect all the dots. Well, once you connect enough dots and you retain enough of the knowledge of the dots, pretty much paints the picture. I mean, basically like connecting dots and painting a picture. I mean, it's pointillism, you know. Pretty much, who's pointillism? Was it Degas or the artist? I'm not sure. I think it was.
I'm not educated in that
Yeah.
area at all.
Well, I guess you could say well-rounded, according to the pounds I put on over this whole Q thing, but that's a whole other story. And I mean, it's the stuff that the whole melanin. I mean, it is actually. I mean, it's very essential to our being. Our for what we're here for. It's just. I mean, it is insane once you start digging in and just start digging down, and it's like, I mean, when you start when they talk about keys, I mean, Q talked about keys and the whole the key to unlock all doors, the door of all doors, it would be a master key, right?
Right.
I mean, the master key is the Ankh, and the master key is based on absolute scientific laws of nature, facts, and will unfold possibilities that lie dormant in each individual and teach how they may be brought into powerful action to increase the person's effective capacity, bringing added energy, and which is their conscience. I mean, it's the whole mental laws of nature, and what is that going to do? Pretty much tell you that, see that poster right there?
Which one? Here, hold on. I'll bring it. The flat Earth poster.
It was patented in November 18th, 1892, and the countries are England, Canada, France, Denmark, Sweden, Germany, and Austria, right?
Yep.
It's a flat Earth map. It even says at the top, new standard map of the world. It's Gleason's map on the projection of J.S. Christopher, Modern College, Blackheath, England. Scientifically, and it is practically correct. AS, it is. Remember, we've had AS quite a few times and it had dots underneath it in the drops. What it does is it makes a triangle. See the triangle?
I'm gonna show it
You
right
have the
here.
north.
I'm gonna show it right here,
Okay,
so you don't have to. There you go.
awesome. Sweet, thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's the thing. I mean, and a lot of people want to, argue about it, fight about it, and everything like that. It's like we've all been duped. I mean, ever since you walked into kindergarten, first thing you saw was a flag and a globe. What signifies it? Everything's been explored. There are no new places, so that's it. It's what it is. What it is. But if it's a flat Earth, that means that there could be places that haven't been explored. I mean, who's to say that? I mean, even Bird has openly said it numerous times. I mean, it's and people want to talk about like the Bible and that they're so by God and Jesus and everything, but if you're all about that as well, you have to be a flat earther as well. It's in Genesis. It's in the first chapter. I mean, look up firmament. I mean, it's all right there. Operation Fishbowl. Why would they be nuking a dome? They're shooting nuclear weapons at a dome. I mean, does anybody see but what do? They just throw technology at you. It's like, oh, hey, check out this new app. Oh, hey, that's cool. It's like, I mean, for human beings to think that, for even the thought of humanity being the only entities in the universe and the smartest is practically scary. I mean, we are actually the dumbest. I mean, we have been so dumbed down. We have been slaved down by the co-creators of the meat suits and everything that, I mean, that's where the whole Anunnakis come in.
Can't imagine why how could you tie all this together? You have Africa being under attack, it's the Fifth Reich, and then you're talking about this flat earth where they're drilling underground with this thing that's so massive, but it can't go on a curve. And then we're talking about the United Nations logo, which is flat, along with the map, the Gleason's map, which is flat. And then you have the World Health Organization map here that is flat, but just happens to have a freaking serpent over it. And oh, that's right, we're also blasting the Africans with vaccines and the Americans with vaccines and population control. And I can't imagine why we're here where we are.
I mean, and then you're on a spinning ball and you're saying that, these people that, the Occam's razor, the answer behind everything is gravity. Well, so what you're saying is that technically on a southern hemisphere, on a ball, the gravity is so strong that it holds the water in place, but yet we're allowed to walk, jump, and move freely. I mean, the gravity would literally suck us. I mean, it would just literally just crush us if it was gravity to that magnitude. I mean, you could even take a tennis ball, like we discussed before, take a tennis ball, put it in water, soak it in water, spin it on concrete or blacktop, whatever, and see what the water does. Watch the water. Just not the watermarks. I mean, there's multiple meanings for it. Watch the water. Goes from the top and bottom, goes right to the middle, and shoots off. That's what it does. So why wouldn't it do it on a bigger scale? And then the whole tilt and everything like that, it's 666. Three ways. I mean, it's almost science. I mean, it gets to a point where, people want to argue about this and that's like, look, we've been lied to about everything. We've had to relearn everything. So why would you be so interested in taking your child and making sure they get back in school and worried about them being behind when literally we have had to forget everything we have learned in life and had to relearn everything. But we did it as a group, we did it as a team. That's how we can advance at such a higher rate because we're not doing this stuff like, you know, by the whole I and me and that whole, the whole ego, you know, the whole Sigmund Freud ego, the id, ego, and super ego. I mean, it's, you're right in the middle of all that junk. It's like we don't need that. What we have to do is just, play it as a game that we're all together. We're all doing this together, and that's the only way you're going to win. Every other time, everything's ended in war because everybody has played by themselves. This time, we understand that what kind of power we have, and that's it. We're going to do it right this time, and we're going to go with the we. We're sticking with the we. I don't care who does what. It's all of us or none of us. That's the whole thing. Everything's been, told to us. Every rule, everything is in the drops that we ever needed. When they said you have more than you know, you just have to go back and you have to just, just make mental notes. But thing is, a lot of people don't have the time nor the energy to put into this. That's why there are some that if you can do it, and that's what we did. I mean, we technically, when they said take everything offline and make sure everything is printed offline, well, might as well put us in a little check in the column for that for us. No matter how much, if it's here or there or whatever, it's like we have it. And that's why, like, yeah, is it all printed over here? Yes. But we did it. People, patriots have donated, monetarily and, prayers and conversations and umpteen hours. I mean, just watching this, I mean, they're taking part of it.
Right.
I mean, it's all of us, and we're all learning at the same time, and that's what we need.
Right.
I mean, no matter, nobody's going to take credit for anything. It's like, we don't want credit for this because we are a part of a bigger team. We're the digital soldiers for General Flynn. So, we're the ones that can actually promote the knowledge and the gnosis and everything to get people's heads out of their asses, to get people to strap on their nuts and, get their ovaries and, fire them up. Well, not fire them up technically, but, I mean.
If you have like, fire down there, you might have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really bad. And, yeah, you don't need that. And, either way, actually, but it's just, you see like all these people that, they instantly want to like argue about stuff. And it's like, well, have you looked into it? Have you researched? No. And it's like, well, then maybe you should do that. And it's not like we're, trying to be dicks about it or anything like that. It's just, we have researched about it. We do have it all documented down. It's like, that's why, we're just relaying what we found as a group, as all of us. Not just one, not just a couple. It's like, after listening to your show from yesterday, and it's like the thing is like it kind of, I mean, it got me fired up. I was like, hell yeah.
Can I give you a secret? Can I give you a secret? Last night was one of my most unprepared shows.
Isn't it great? You just go, and the thing is, every time that I've prepared for doing all this, I've been nervous about getting it just perfect, just right. When you just go off script and everything, it's like everything just flows so much easier.
Yes.
It's like, looking through paperwork and everything, and people are like, you're not prepared. It's like, well then fuck it. We're just gonna go right off key and just say, here we go. And just it makes it just so much easier that it's like it almost seems like we are just having a conversation between us.
Right.
And not, the hundreds of thousands of people watching or whatever. It's and we just and we are so appreciative to anybody and everybody that is watching this, because they're willing to learn. They're willing to, say, yeah, we've been lied to, and, do we want the truth? Yeah. So what we could do is we can give like our standpoint, and then you could say, well, that sounds sketchy, but I'll go look it up myself and see what I find.
Right.
And that's the whole purpose of this. It's like just to get the conversation going and get the ball rolling. That's all it is.
Right.
And it's like, how we found each other.
So
that couldn't be any more of a fluke than I've even thought of.
So it's interesting because that actually rolled back to that. So I was following your stuff. You had a very interesting ET post that I dove into, and then on top of that, you saw that I interviewed Janet last week, I think it was, or earlier this week. I don't even remember what day it is anymore. I interviewed Janet from Fall of Cabal, and she let out the first part of the second series that she did, and the moment I knew like the first movie she did, I knew 95% of it she put out there. Like, not to say she didn't have great research. She took me deeper down some rabbit holes, but I had a general idea of what she was talking about. And then the first part of the second series came out, and the moment she opened up with Sumeria, and I was like, oh, she really, really, really knows what's going on. And it actually circles back around to what you were talking about tonight, which is Africa, which I did not know was called the Fifth Reich. Because the keys to this, and David Icke talks about it, a couple others talk about it, and I'm not going to get into the whole controlled opposition tonight, because guys, honestly, I don't know who is controlled opposition or who not. You can say it all day long. So many people like to throw out labels that I don't agree with something they said, and they were 95% right and 5% wrong, so they're controlled opposition. You don't know. Give me a break. And but the interesting part is, it all goes back from this planet standpoint, where there was a change that took place, which was Sumeria, and quite honestly, that's where your Fifth Reich probably actually starts, because they cannot let you know the distinct lineage of royalty, the Davidic line, etc., because once you go down that road, you find out about the Phoenicians, you find out about the Canaanites, you find out about the cult of Baal, and then you realize what we're actually dealing with today, because they destroyed the original origin of how we are here, and you have to go back to Sumeria to truly get from a source standpoint of how that works, and it makes sense on now why they're destroying Africa, or why they've been destroying Africa, because there is your origin of man.
Well, also, when you look at the whole the Desert Shield, Desert Storm, why we rolled in Iraq. When they rolled in Iraq, they were told to destroy everything of antiquity.
Yes.
Right? So, what was Iraq? Iraq was, it was the cradle of civilization.
Right.
It was right there. It was the Fertile Crescent. And the thing is that, where is Gilgamesh's tomb again? It's in Iraq. Iran, right there. So it's like, well, why was Hillary so enthralled in the whole, Gilgamesh's tomb? These people know about this. They just kept a big lid on it. They didn't want any of this getting out, because the whole thing is, it's like the Bible. The Bible is, it's the same story, but just names, and it's just retold. But it's like a story being told again by different people. It was told by the Hebrews, which before it was the whole Sumerians, and I mean, they were the ones that, is the New Lish,
Right.
EE 55, you know, and I mean, that's where you get the whole Marduk and Enki and Lil, you know, Nibiru, our true creation, and because it's not like we just came out of just nowhere, and then it's not like we went from fish to apes to now humans. It's like, come on. I mean, I mean, the whole thing. It's just like you've got to be kidding me. We cannot be that stupid to think that we went from primates to now humans. Because let's face it. I mean,
Well, and they destroyed
we
science because let me tell everybody, I don't have the documentation in front of me. I can probably look up some of it, but I have better on my shelves back here that I have to go research. Is you've been told that today is modern science, and the science that you are being shown today from medicine and chemistry and physics and all this different stuff is the work of genius. It's the greatest science we've ever had. Let me give you a little heads up and a little reality check. They had better science and technology back in Sumeria than we have today. This science today is one, archaic, and two, it's fraudulent science. They had better science thousands of years ago
God.
than we have today. And on top of that, everyone's like, well, the best medical science ever. That's a bunch of bullshit, too, because I have books right back here that are. I can blow your minds, which I won't necessarily do it tonight, but I can blow your mind with light frequencies and sound that will make science today look like a bunch of morons because they destroyed every great scientist and doctor who actually was teaching healthcare science, like the Royal Rifes of the world, the Teslas of the world. They destroyed them for a reason because they found out how it all worked. They found out that every single possible thing that could be in the body or quote unquote germ, and there is no such thing as a freaking germ. Like that is the most it's such absolute bullshit. The germ theory is 100% incorrect. And if the germ theory was correct, this is actually a quote from one of the developers of the chiropractic profession. If the germ theory was correct, every single person would be dead already because it would infect everybody and everyone would die because they couldn't handle it. When in reality, there are no germs. It's called a microbiome all around us, everywhere, and we work with symbiotic relationship with planet Earth. But instead, they have taken that real science away and they have dropped that World Health Organization science on you, which is the serpent to destroy the world because they can't let you know what health really is. How about that?
Oh, it's pretty pathetic, but also, um, we're going through this. They had the Zep Tepi, and it's the question to answer is energy and emotions, right? It was found when we were digging through all this, whole creation and everything. Well, we found Adam, right?
Yeah.
Atum. Well, when you look at what he's carrying, right?
Which one?
That's an Ankh.
Yep.
See the Ankh, the
Yep.
master key.
Yep.
When you look at all like the Sumerian, like all the Anunnaki and everything, when you look at everything that was, all the stonework and everything of all the Anunnaki, right? They had two things. They had the pine cone, right? And they carried around like a purse, right? Well, the thing is that right there, it's a master key. I mean, it's just just another story. I mean, just building on the next story. It's, you know, that's all it is. I mean, what was in there? It was the master key. It was the key to produce, then this is all in Egypt, they said Adam emerged from the nun, I mean, it's, I mean, when you look at some of this, and then they talk about Doctor. Oh, sorry about that. Is that messed up?
Would you got some feedback now?
Yeah, yeah.
Move it around. Or punch it.
No, I mean,
What'd you do to it?
I don't know.
Oh, now it's really bad.
Oh,
What are you touching right there? What is that? Mess with your cord.
Say it.
No, I'm not touching. I'm not saying.
Get us both kicked off.
I'm not saying a word.
Get us both kicked off. Come on.
What did you hit?
I'm just kidding.
It's a little better, but
I don't know. You know what? I was just trying to get this thing out of my way so that I could see what's in front of me.
That's better. There you go. Beautiful.
Staying right there. I'll scream if I have to.
So since we're freewheeling it tonight a little bit, which is fine.
Yeah.
So here you go. I dropped this a long time ago, but you can add to it, okay? And then I'll do another show on it. And the reptilian / Rh negative blood. What do you know off the top of your head without going looking it up? Anything?
I really never dove deep into the whole blood types.
Okay.
Of any of that, so I mean, I'm not at liberty to.
That's okay. I wasn't sure if you knew about it or not. I'll do another show.
No, I mean, I just never. Yeah. I mean, when do a show on, I mean, I could look into it because I mean, quite a few people have actually asked about it.
Right.
And I just really never, really dove down that rabbit hole. I mean, everything else, I mean, we pretty much got. Just never, And
no, that's fine.
That's the whole we part. I mean, there are people that are going to be really big into the whole the blood type version and all that. Where I'm a student anyways. If people are teaching, I'm learning. I mean, that's just it's.
So
it's just how we want to be.
I have a surprise. I was not going to talk about this tonight. I'm not going to go deep into this book tonight, but I'm gonna at least show it. Okay. There's something that I know about, but I can't use it with people necessarily because of this right here. This right here stops us from using this. Now, this is a textbook. This is not like a this is a textbook. And I will tell you, let me show you the next thing because I talked about this. I'm going to do another show on this at some point because I only did it one show and people were like, "What is that? What is that?" But this is rife. So you see that little microscope there? That little thing that microscope, not really little, it's very intricate, right? See that microscope there? They raided his office 80 plus years ago or more, and they destroyed that microscope, and they still cannot replicate it. They cannot.
I have no idea.
I know.
Microscope.
Do I know something that Jason Q doesn't know?
Well, I can't see it.
Oh, you can't?
But is it the guy that created the Oregon energy?
He didn't create it, no.
But did he discover it?
So what Rife did, and that's a sales site, but and I don't use that one. However, what Rife figured out was frequencies, and I've known this for a long time. This is not something I just looked up. But again, with Rife you have to be careful because they do not like Rife. Now,
of course not.
If you have real Rife technology, and I'm just gonna let people know, if you have spent $500, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, I'm gonna tell you right now, you don't have as good a Rife technology as the top. If you really get correct Rife technology, you're going to spend $5 to $20,000 for the machine if it's done correctly. Because what Rife found out was, there you go. Look at that. See how this all comes together. See how this all. Look at that. Look at that. So Rife found out and discovered that every single, let's call it pathogen, and every single cell and every single everything has a frequency. Now, Tesla also obviously figured out frequencies. Rife figured out from a healthcare standpoint and figured out that every single pathogen, every single anything dis/ease in the body has a frequency. Meaning, if you match that frequency, guess what happens to said pathogen? It destroys it. So, I'm gonna use a broad example here because I don't want to get in any trouble. If you have a pathogen that starts with a V or a P or a B or an F or anything like that, let's take a V pathogen, for example, right? Now, there's a whole debate on if a V is an actual pathogen, but let's put that aside for the time being. Let's just say it is. If you happen to find that frequency with said devices, and you happen to match that frequency with said devices, said pathogen will self-destruct, and guess what it won't do? It will not harm any other cell around it, including good cells. And then the body eradicates the waste. And that's really all there is to it. This is not challenging, folks. How do you like that?
It's good. I mean,
and guess what? It most likely goes all the way back to maybe Sumeria and farther, because clearly they knew about frequencies.
And waves.
That's correct. Look at that.
Because it's all about electromagnetic. It's all about waves.
That is right.
Everything, the wavelength, and magnetism. Because we have an electromagnetic. I mean, we have an energy we give off. It's a magnetism.
Right.
If
you like this information, I'm going to highly recommend you go to the website and/or Gab and Parler in the future, because if I start dropping this shit, they ain't going to like it for very long.
Yeah. And also, they bring up the endocrine system.
Oh, yeah, that endocrine system is so important because, that's right. By the way, over 75, maybe even 80% of all dis-ease is created in the mind. So if you have a chronic health condition and it just won't go away, because they all should go away rather easily, you're dealing with far more than just a health condition, because the mind is powerful. And then he just showed you the endocrine system, and everyone wonders why they have thyroid issues and they have adrenal issues. Well, because the thyroid, the adrenals, the ovaries, the testicles, the heart is an endocrine system organ. It is not the cardiovascular organ. That's a whole other story we'll go into later. However, all of these organs, well, guess what they're tied to? They're tied to the brain, which is connected to the ether. And the brain it goes down to the thalamus, hypothalamus, pituitary. That's right. And then goes into the pineal. So therefore, if your adrenals are blown out, if your thyroid is blown out, if your ovaries, uterus are blown out, if you're having trouble getting pregnant, having children, if your body's all over the place, it comes from the brain, which is tied to the mind, obviously, and the ether, and there's your problem. that make sense?
Yeah, actually does. And that's why and that's why they're actually going after it. That's why
That
you
is
know
correct.
that's why they choose from birth to the age of 7. When they're when they're looking for these kids, when they're preying on these children.
Right.
It's like once they hit the age of 7, then they go to the indoctrination phase. So you go
Correct.
from the endocrine to indoctrination.
Yeah, good.
They put
Yeah,
a
you
nice
like
little
that.
tie on words,
You like
right?
that word
Yeah,
connection?
yeah.
That's right.
It's just, I mean, they just love this stuff. But so we found something yesterday, and I was on a podcast with that Dr. Sherelle,
Sure no, yeah.
Sherelle.
Sure no, yeah.
So the thing is when they give out these dates, right?
Yeah.
And because that's the whole, I mean, Q and the whole parade and everything. Remember, right? The start would be 11-3,
Yeah.
right? Would be the first marker. Okay. Now, 11-4 would be actionable, correct?
Yep.
They said 11-3, first marker, 11-4 actionable. Well, then there was a post, a Q drop, on January 19, 2018. It was post 562. And it was at 16:02:49 Eastern Standard Time, which is what 4:02:49 p.m. It says, "Remember this day." Now, it has it in bold, right?
Which one? The January
This
19th,
post.
January 19th,
Yes.
2018. Okay.
Yes. Now, see where it says, "Remember this day,"
Yep.
right?
Yep.
This day is in bold.
Right.
Remember, everything has meaning. Okay.
Correct.
Now, the thing is that January 19th of 2021 falls on a Tuesday. Okay. What occurs on Tuesdays in a quote unquote like a voting cycle? You know, we vote on Tuesdays, correct?
That is correct.
So when you take 11-4 and you go through the days and you go to 119, right? You have the 27 days in November left. Then you have the 31 days in December. And then you have the 19 days in January. Comes up to 77 days. Mathematically impossible, right? So when you look at 2021 from 2018 and POTUS's first tweet when he talks about the GDP being 3.0, the most consecutive Qs in years,
Right.
right? So that 3 years would be 2018 to 2021, right?
Right.
Now, when you take post 562, right? What do you have? You have a 13, right?
Right.
5 plus 62 is 13. Now, when you take that 13 and you add the GDP, which is 3.0 to it, you have 1 plus 3 plus 3, which is a 7. So technically you have trip 7s just by the days and they remember this day. So what could they possibly be planning? What could be actionable and what could remember this day be? Remember, you end up being a lame duck, president if you lose, or even if you serve the 2 terms underneath the electoral college, those rules
Right.
from the election to January 20th, right? Well, couldn't you have an election on 119, and then you could automatically say, well, on 120 you'd still have the inauguration?
My impression is, I'm not going to say 100% sure, but my impression is, based on what I'm reading, I think we might have another election day.
Yeah, on 119.
I'm not saying that's true. That's what you're saying.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
I'm just saying what I could see happening.
well, and the thing is that what does that mean? I mean, it's within the 120 days, right?
Right.
Now, let's take next week, right? Boom week. We just talked about the 11-9, 11-11, 11-13, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Right.
So the parade that they're going to have at 11-18, it's going to be cool. It's going to be great. It's going to be, biggest parade, mass parade, Well,
Right.
we've talked about this before. Well, it could be the first mass arrest, right? They
Could.
said that the first arrest will shock the world. Now, an arrest, does it consist of one person, or can it consist of a vast amount of people?
Yeah.
I mean, think about what they did in Congress on 7/17 last year, and they approved the whole, that whole shit with the CARES Act, what turned into be the CARES Act, and why Nancy Pelosi's like, oh yeah, come on down to Chinatown, it's all good, it's perfectly fine down here. It's like, you guys brought the disease over here.
Right.
You guys did. Feinstein, Pelosi, all of them. They're all complacent in this. How did Fauci win this award of one of the top 20 of the most influential government officials of all time under the SES, the Senior Executive Service? I mean, you think he had his hand in killing a few people? I'd say so. Him and the 41020.
Right.
Because, like we said before, when they came out with the 41020, you had 4, space 10, 20. There's no space in 10 and 20.
Sorry.
When they talked about names, names where you have 4, and then the space breaks up the namesake.
Americans.
So the 4 would be the D,
Declaration.
and then you have JT that is together.
But the numbers tell us it's clear. Tell us a clear and convincing story.
Jeffrey Taubenberger.
We're going to win this race.
It was Dr.
Just
Jeffrey
look at what has
Taubenberger.
happened since
He is
yesterday.
the one that created
24
the whole
hours.
Spanish
We
flu
were
virus.
behind in
He's the one that
Georgia.
resurrected it from
Now we're ahead.
the
And
Rockefellers
we're
back
going to
in
win that
1918.
state. 24 hours ago,
Even
we're
the
behind in
military, they were
Pennsylvania, and we
pissed about
are
this.
going to win
why would you do
Pennsylvania.
this?
And
he's
now
like,
we're ahead,
to
but
learn how this works,
we're winning in
you have
Arizona,
to bring it back. It's like,
winning in Nevada. And in
when
fact,
evil is dead, you
our
don't
lead
bring it
just
back.
doubled in Nevada. We're on track to
And you would have
over
a
300
electoral
votes,
huge problem with this.
electoral college votes.
The
And
real
look at the
DJT,
national numbers.
Donald
We're
John
going to
Trump,
win this race with a clear majority
because his
of the nation behind
grandfather
us.
actually
We've gotten
died
over
because
74
of the Spanish
million
flu.
votes.
Hold on one second.
Let me repeat that. 74 million votes.
He's going to claim
That's more
victory.
than any presidential ticket has ever gotten in the history of the United States of America.
Biden.
And our vote total is still
Go
growing.
ahead.
We're beating Donald
you see it
Trump
on the
by
screen
over
right now
4
or no?
million votes.
I can't see anything.
And that's a margin
Hold on a
that's still
second.
growing as well. One of the things I'm especially proud of is how well we've done across America.
I'll tell you.
And we're
I'm
going
going
to
to keep
the
it
first
short. Hold
Democrat
on.
to win in Arizona in 24 years. We're going to be the first Democrat to win Georgia in 28 years.
He's claiming
And
victories
we've rebuilt the blue
in
wall
Arizona,
in the middle of the country that
Georgia,
crumbled just 4 years ago. Pennsylvania, Michigan,
Pennsylvania.
Wisconsin, the heartland of this nation. I know watching these vote tallies on TV moves very slow, and it's and as slow as it goes, it can be numbing.
You're
But
numb.
never forget,
He's such a.
Tallies aren't just
Can't
numbers.
even speak correctly.
They represent votes and voters, men and women who exercise their fundamental right to have their voice heard. And what's becoming clear each hour is that record number of Americans of all races, faiths,
I had to go to
religions,
CNN because they're the only ones
chose
covering it.
change
Not because I choose
over
to.
more of the same.
Hold on.
They've given us a mandate
What
for
are the
action
states that they mentioned? Just
on
those three?
COVID, the economy,
Say that again?
climate change,
Just
systemic
those three
racism. They
states?
made it clear. They want the country to
He's
come
claiming
together,
Arizona.
not continue to pull apart.
He's claiming
People spoke.
Georgia.
More than 74 million
I think
Americans.
he said South Carolina. I
spoke
don't remember.
loudly
Definitely
for
said
our ticket.
Pennsylvania.
But while we're waiting for the final results,
Michigan.
I want people to know we're not waiting to get the work done.
Those are the big
Start
ones.
Start the process.
Can't even.
Yesterday,
God, he can't
Senator
talk.
Harris and I held meetings with groups of experts on public health and the economic crisis this country is facing.
He's
The
not
pandemic,
saying he
as you
won.
also
He said
know,
it's
is getting
clear they're going
more
to win.
worrisome all across the country. Daily cases are skyrocketing. And it's now believed
He's also
that we
claiming
can
Nevada.
see as many as 200,000 cases in a single day. The death toll is approaching 240,000 lives lost to this virus. That's 240,000 empty chairs, kitchen tables, and dining room tables all across America. We'll never be able to measure all that pain and the loss, the suffering that so many families have experienced. We know something about what it feels like to lose someone.
He can't even
I want
get
them
his
to know
words
they're
straight.
not alone. Our hearts break with you. We want everyone to know on day one, we're going to put our plan to control this virus into action.
By the way, he is not the
We
same
can't
Biden
save any of the
as
lives
the night
lost.
of the election.
Any of those have been lost, but we can save a lot of lives.
His face on
in
the
months
right
ahead.
side is different.
Senator Harris and I also heard yesterday
So the earlobes,
about how this
they're
recovery is
attached.
slow
And
The other
because
The
of the
other
failure
night,
to get the pandemic under
he had
control.
2 dark freckle
More than
spots on
20
his
million
right cheek
people are
that
on
I don't
unemployment.
necessarily see.
Millions are worried about making rent and putting food on the table. Our economic plan will put a focus on a path to a strong recovery.
This is epic. I love this.
Look, we both know tensions are high. They can be high
I'm so happy
after a
he's doing
tough
this.
election, one like we've had. But we need to remember,
people,
we have to remain calm,
You can't just tell them. You got to show
patient.
them.
Let the process work out
I am so happy
as we
he's
count
doing this.
all the votes.
All the votes. He's over
You know,
74
we're proving
million
again
now.
what we've proved for 244 years in this country. Democracy
Until
works.
they decide
Your
to do the
vote
recount
will
and
be
check them off
counted.
for the watermarks.
I don't care how hard people
That's
try to
gonna be
stop it.
dandy.
I will not let it happen.
Say 50 out of 50. Red
People
tsunami.
will be heard.
What is a
Our
tsunami?
journey is toward a
Has to
more
do with
perfect
water,
union.
correct?
That's correct.
And it keeps moving on.
He's
In America, we hold strong views.
He's
We have
so
strong
done. They're so
disagreements,
done.
and that's okay.
I mean, they're
Strong
They're
disagreements are
literally
inevitable.
just-
in a
he is slurring
Strong
his words again.
Disagreements are healthy. They're a sign of a vigorous debate,
just like Pelosi, huh?
deeply held views.
And
We
people
have
think
to
it's a
remember
bruise.
the purpose of our politics
He's
is
slurring
a
his
total,
words, and he even has a
unrelenting,
teleprompter.
unending warfare. No, the purpose of our politics, the work of the nation, isn't to fan the flames of conflict, but to solve
Give
problems.
me a moment. I'm going to analyze his
To
eyes.
guarantee justice, to give everybody a fair shot, and to improve the lives of our
Are you going to
people.
look deep down in them?
We may be opponents, but
Well,
we're
kiss.
not enemies. We're Americans.
I'm watching
No
how
matter
he
who you
reads.
voted for, I'm certain of one thing. The vast majority of almost
Don't.
150 million Americans who voted,
It's all done by computer.
they want to get the vitriol out of our politics. We're certainly not going to agree on a lot of issues, but at least we can agree to be civil with one another. We have to put the anger and the demonization behind us. It's time for us to come together as a nation to heal. It's not going to be easy, but we have to try. My responsibility as president will be to represent the whole nation. And I want you to know that I'll work as hard for those who voted against me as those who voted for me. That's the job. That's the job. It's called the duty of care for all Americans. We have serious problems to deal with, from COVID to the economy to racial justice and climate change.
Oh, he's
We don't have any more time to
mentioning
waste
climate change
on
again.
partisan warfare. You know, and more than that, we have such an incredible opportunity to build the future we want for our kids and our grandkids.
They're so ignorant.
I've said
Beyond
many, many
ignorance.
times, I've never been more optimistic about the future of this nation. There is no reason we can't own the 21st century. We just need to remember who we are.
Okay, I can't do it anymore. I can't. Sorry. I apologize to all the viewers out there that I put you through that 5 minutes, but I needed to. I'll go back and watch it again because I want to see. I want to focus, and it doesn't. It's so funny. You're like, how can you listen to him? Because it's about reading. It's fun reading. It's fun reading people. Read how they lie, how they do what they do, how they like. And I also want to know what's coming, what they're trying to say is coming, because then it will start spelling out how the war is being pushed through essentially. So he is claiming that they have won all those states. CNN has him up in all of the states that Trump was winning. So Georgia, South Carolina, I believe. So here, actually, I think I can. You can't see anything. Or do you have a different software on tonight?
Who, me?
Yeah, usually you can see the screen. No?
No, usually I can't.
Okay.
But we got to figure it out though.
Okay, you can now?
No, but we figured out what they just did.
Okay, so right, real quick. Pennsylvania, they have Biden up now. Georgia, they have Biden up. Arizona, they have him up. So every
Right here.
single state that was not won and the president was leading, Biden now leads in. That's why they're going to say he has wins. So yes, you're correct. Let's show that again.
Okay. What they've done is they mentioned 6 states, right? So you have Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Michigan, Nevada, right? Now, remember, mathematically impossible. Yes. Arizona is a 1. Georgia is a 7. Go by the first letters, right? G equals 7. Pennsylvania, P equals 16. South Carolina, you have a 19 plus a 3. Michigan is 13. Nevada is 14. Add them up, comes to 70.
What give me more. What's 70?
It's a 7.
Oh.
70.
Perfection.
I mean, the thing is, I mean, what else is 70? It's a CARES Act. When you add all the CARES Act up, it comes out to 70 as well. I mean, they're doing this, I mean, all mathematically for us to figure this out and do it by code to have the, just the ones that were blessed enough to actually, I guess, catch on or just be, follow this all the way through.
So everyone needs to now not panic. Even though Joe Biden is basically claiming a victory, everyone that has at least a brain cell operating knows that that is not mathematically possible, and that there is no way on God's green earth or in the devil's hell that a man who had 10 to 20 people in circles and chairs at his rallies beat a guy who had 30, 40, sometimes 50,000 people at his rallies and had the energy and had 96-mile-long car and truck tours and thousands of boats in the water tours. There is no way that guy defeated the President of the United States. But, as was posted, I think, on my Facebook page, and I've heard from others today, is when there's a shoplifter in the store, sure, you can stop them before they walk out and bust them and say, hey, but they can come up with an excuse, right? They can be like, oh, sorry, I didn't know. And you technically, they might be able to get away. However, if they leave the store and they're walking down the street and you go bust them, there is no way out of the crime. So my understanding is, and did I know this was going to happen? No, I did not know this is how it was going to go. Everyone thinks, the other thing is, by the way, everyone thinks that every single Anon knows every single step of what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. I don't think anyone necessarily knew that this was what they were talking about when it came to the election, that they were going to have him steal it blatantly like this and then have this occur. We know that there's a plan, and we're trusting the plan because that's the best thing to do right now, because clearly the other direction, which is what you just saw, is a train wreck. So you better trust the plan because there's nothing else, and then pivot if something bad occurs and we need to change, course. But what needs to happen is they need Biden to claim victory. He needs to own the crime. The crime is that for the umpteenth time, the evil empire, the cabal, the globalists, the deep state, the Illuminati, the whatever you want to call it, has stolen an election to get their way and to continue the train wreck that is what has become America. Now, this is where you let our military, who, if you think, and I posted this earlier, if you think our military is sitting back and just letting this occur, if you think the military that just was rebuilt by the President of the United States and comes swarming to see the President and talk to him, if you think that military is going to take orders from Joe Biden or Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris is an anchor baby.
And Kamala Harris, just like Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, Kamala Harris cannot be president of the United States legally because she is not naturalized. She's not born here. She is an anchor baby. It's not possible for her to be president, and they're not gonna take Biden. Like, the military is not gonna follow Joe Biden. I can tell you that right now. So if hell freezes over, and somehow by hell freezing over, that Biden ends up in the White House and the president gets thrown out some way, shape, or form, like something happens, all is not lost because he doesn't have the Senate and they're screwed anyway. But I'm going to tell you, what's going to happen is now you're going to see the unfolding of the plan. And the plan is to show how the entire system has been completely corrupted and your republic was stolen out from underneath you. How about that?
Well,
and then
it was stolen.
Go ahead.
It was stolen on the 1999-2000 election.
Right. And
the whole flag.
And let me add something to that. You also need the mainstream media to be complicit in the stealing of the election. You need the mainstream media to announce it. You need the mainstream media to be behind the victory for the Democrats, because I'm going to tell you something. As I have been changing course behind the scenes, as I have been producing these shows, and Jason Q has been on, and interviews have been on, and then as I go to Gab, and as I go to Parler, and as I go to Rumble tonight, and I start looking at the future of social media and media in general, do you realize your new media is right here? You're looking at it. This is your new media. Do you know why? Because you have all of these people who are patriots. You have things like OAN now. You have Right Side Broadcasting. You have American News now. You have this. You have everybody who is a patriot and is willing to go on camera. They are all over these social media channels where there's no suppression. And you are now watching the evolution of media where the mainstream media is going to implode on itself and be complicit in the crime, and this will become your new media. You now have citizen journalism. That's it.
It's the truth. You know, I mean, because we all came together, and we you're not taking it from one person and one skewered side. You know, everybody has a say in it, and everybody can say, well, what about this, and bring it to the table, and then we all go back to the drawing board and we start looking at things and find it again. It's like, well, how about that?
And let me also add this. This is how you also know that Joe Biden is not going to be president of the United States. You know why? Because if Joe Biden has legitimately become president of the United States, let me even play devil's advocate here, okay? Joe Biden has 74 million votes and counting. That would mean that Joe Biden is the most popular elected president in the history of America, and not only surpassed all votes of potentially the first female president if Hillary had won, he surpasses the votes of the first, and bear with me when I say this, I know it's not legit, but he surpassed the first African American black president of the United States of America. So if you take Barack Obama and legitimize him, just for this story's sake, if you legitimize the President Barack Obama for 8 years, Joe Biden, who can't utter a coherent sentence or garner more than 20 people into a rally, has become the most popularly elected president in the history of the American Constitutional Republic. There you go.
Let's face it, if you want to call those rallies, I've seen more PTA meetings. You've got to admit, you can't even say that Joe Biden has actually had a rally. I mean, 20 to 30 people? I mean, that's... And then how they had, like, their cars, how they were, like, blowing the horns and all that, trying to act like, there were more people than were there. It's like... I mean, and then, not to mention, you'll have the First Lady being a murder suspect in the killing of the president's first wife. I mean, man, there's a lot of shit to unfold there. Thrill Kill Jill's just like diving down in it. You got, Biden hiding, and then you got Hunter. What happened to Bo? And then what happens then? Hunter turns around and starts screwing his wife. It's like, what is wrong with you people? And then, not to mention the wife, then you turn around and goes towards the daughter. It's like, you people are sick.
He is going to have 75 million votes before this is over. He's going to have over 75 million votes before they are done counting these. This is literally one of the greatest comedies ever written. I am completely, while others are out there freaking out, I have honestly never been more entertained in my entire life.
Oh, this is great. I mean, honestly, this is the greatest movie, like, of all time. I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, 3 movies in one, you get to be a part of it, and the twists and turns, and, I mean, it keeps getting more and more just beyond fucked up. It's like, can it get any more? It's like, oh, of course it can. Why not? It's like, let's just throw a wrench in. It's like, how many wrenches we got? It's like, 30,000. It's like, give me a wrench.
Dude, You know, can we make this even more exciting? You know what I really want? I want them to announce in the next day, 2 days, next week. I don't care. I want them to announce that he is officially the winner, and I want them to have. Excuse my language. It's 11. It's 11. I can start swearing a little bit more. I want them to throw the biggest fucking celebration you've ever seen on the planet. I want to see fireworks. I want to see confetti. I want to see them to celebrate this thing like it's the new millennium, man. I want this. I hope they take this so over the top, and I want every Hollywood celebrity to show up. I want to have a concert. I want the whole thing. Please, God, please let this occur.
Well, if you think about it, it'd be the greatest circus of all time. You have all the clowns, right? And then you would have this weekend could be Suicide Weekend, right? Then, you can announce it on Monday that he is officially the winner of the presidency and all
Please.
which would be 11-9, which flip that around, 9/11, Then, of course, what would you have then? In 2 days, in 2 days Delta, you have 11/11/18, which would be the greatest parade when they go in there and they just start grabbing everybody back. Everybody's going, Fauci, Birx, everybody, let's go. And just start marching them right down. March them right into vehicles and just nail them all. Then there's your parade. And then you have our Black Friday, which would be Friday the 13th. Everything has, with everything bad, you have to have the same amount of equal as good. Balance.
Yes.
That would be the 11/13. Be perfect balance for the Friday.
This is dude. This is
Let's do this.
This is epic. Well, this is what we're gonna do. We're
because you could take it to the Supreme Court all you want. Amy Coney Barrett, right there. She's our wild card. She is gonna pretty much take the place of Roberts. Because now what you have is once you declared Obama as constitutionally ineligible, that means that every judge and justice he has ever put into office, they're also removed, which would be Sotomayor and Elena Kagan, which Elena Kagan falls under the HUMA, the capital HUMA, the Harvard University Muslim Alumni Association, because she took the $20 million payday from the Muslim Brotherhood, and she's also a part of the Muslim Brotherhood in the Supreme Court. So you'd eliminate those two, right? Those two are gone. Then you have Justice John Roberts, Chief Justice. He'd be gone for treason because of the $9.1 trillion that him and George H.W. Bush embezzled during the whole NESARA, the packet scandal there.
Beautiful.
I mean, it just goes on and on. So now you have 3 more picks. It's like, ooh, And then, not to mention, you have all the other justices, not justices but judges, from that Obama picked for like the appellate courts and all them. He gets to fill all them too. I mean, this man, jobs. He putting everybody to work. He don't care.
This is so. I know people get upset, but I know people get upset about this, and I know people are stressed. This is the most enjoyable thing I have ever watched, quite honestly. Like, this is, and again, even if we're wrong for some strange reason and Biden becomes the president, I'm still going to be entertained the next 4 years because it is a massive train wreck. But this is so entertaining to watch, to show that they have put up this completely incompetent, blabbering, dementia-ridden individual felon, who can't even, by the way, just for the record, guys, if he was to become president and they swore him in, he can't get national security clearance. How do
Then
you
what
get it?
happens?
How do
Yeah.
you get a daily report and a daily briefing when you can't get national security clearance?
You can't give it to the anchor babe either. So who gets it? I mean, technically, who gets it? I mean, if you think about it, that means that the House Speaker would get it, right? Well, who pretty much won the House back? So now, here comes your little red wave. We picked up the House back, picked up the Senate back, and everything like this. It's like, well, the House is going to be eliminated anyways. It's going to be completely cleaned. It needs to be, and Senate's the key. They'll go ahead and they'll bring in the 100 alternates. 50 two from each governor that was picked, and for the whole Jacera deal, and they would be in place until the next election. Because everybody has to go. Once he resigns, everybody's gone. That's why you have the people's president. I mean, that's where you get, who would fill in for Trump,
And then I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to end with this because it's getting late.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you now, when the president does take back over commander in chief, or doesn't leave it, doesn't let, when he is rewarded, you are then going to see a massive surge towards consciousness for the planet. Because at that point, there's going to be some waking up that has to occur planetary wide, and that's where I believe the Where We Go One, Where We Go All comes in, because there's no more. I think we slip away from duality at that point, and we actually go towards oneness as a civilization. And I actually don't think the president and all the people behind him are all necessarily involved. I think that actually goes above them. I mean, they're involved to get us to this point, and they're going to take us through this. But I tell you, after that, it goes above their pay grade. That's my opinion.
Well, I definitely side with that because, somebody had to come up with this plan. I mean, it's a divine plan. I mean, it's in the book.
Yep.
It's key 118.
And I'm telling you right now,
And
Janet and Dr. Horace Drew, who are Red Collie, have both told me, personally, they've told me on camera, Janet saw the crop circles being created by light. Horace Drew, Red Collie, didn't see them, but he's able to pull them apart, and they both have said that we are being helped through a transition period on planet Earth, which the president is getting us to a point, and then it takes off from there afterwards.
the thing is, the key 118 in the book, that'd be 11/8. That would be Sunday, 11/8. Then they talk about the divine plan in the book of Enoch and the keys of Enoch, book of knowledge. It's right there. I mean, and then that's the last key for 11. Then it goes to 2-01. So, I mean, in that key, I mean, if you've, I know you have the book. I mean, definitely skip to that chapter and that key. I mean, it gets wild. When you start, they talk about the harvest. They talk about, why this whole thing's going down, what the divine plan is about. It's because of our misuse of atomic energy. We used it for weapons. Oppenheimer, good old Oppenheimer, created, the whole, atom bomb. I mean, it's just, the Jays just, I mean, they have their hands in everything. The Beanie Babies.
Well, sir, good analysis tonight. I appreciate it.
No, not a problem. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
having me again.
Absolutely, you're so welcome, and we will have you back next week. And I have some amazing stuff coming up before then. We have some very cool guests coming out, and again, go over to Gab, go over to Parlor, go over to Rumble, and then go over to the website, which is therevolutionnetwork.com. That's where things will be continuing if everything goes down. Obviously, we'll be on Facebook until it goes down. We'll be on Twitter till it goes down. I'm not worried. I'm not saying we're going to go away from it. I'm just saying when it does, if it does, that's where you're going to be. And I am actually super excited about the revolution into the blockchain medium, which is the new basically Web 3.0 and how this is all going. So get on the email list, reach out to Jason. We'll get you taken care of. And you guys have an amazing evening. As always, go serve somebody, go help somebody. This is the Revolution Network. For Jason Q, Dr. Jason Dean, you guys have an amazing night. Be well.